What is going on, guys? It is Cabal Culture Smasher here. Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the Thunderbolts in Asterix. I'm going to be covering spoilers here on the channel, so if you guys don't want to be watching, spoilers, if you want to see the movie yourself, then I recommend clicking off this video. I'll just say right off the bat, the opening segment, the first act of this movie is so boring. So unbelievably boring. And the exposition in this movie, oh god, the exposition in this movie is terrible. Some of the worst exposition. We're talking like Madam Web, I lost my mother in a forest when she was pregnant with me type exposition. It's on that level, right? Once the movie actually gets going, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. Now, the Marvel humor, oh my god, the Marvel humor, they don't learn. The Marvel humor needs to die at this point, okay? It worked with Guardians, it worked with Iron Man, it did not work with every other character, and it shouldn't work for every character. Some characters need to be dead serious, others should have the more comedic tones to them. That's the way you tell a compelling story, when you have a good balance of serious moments with comedic levity. Marvel humor was all over the place, though I did actually laugh at quite a few of the jokes this time around. It didn't necessarily fall flat, but it really detracts from what could otherwise be a great, serious experience. Because I actually got to tell you, this movie itself, when it got serious, when it actually needed to be serious, I enjoyed it quite a bit. Way more than I was anticipating. When this movie got going and it actually took itself seriously, I'll say it probably felt like watching one of the Star Wars prequels, where it's obviously flawed. There's definitely problems with it, and yet I enjoyed, for the most part, the experience that I took away from it. Now, I don't know how I'm going to feel tomorrow. Maybe it'll feel worse for me once I wake up in the morning. Who knows? But the movie was actually quite fascinating. There's a lot of different ideas that are good, and some that are not so good. For instance, first off, the climax, man. What was that climax? We were building up to something really cool. And obviously, the Thunderbolts cannot take on Sentry. As you guys know, the villain is Sentry. In this case, the Void, right? More specifically, the Void, his counterpart. The Thunderbolts can't take on the Void themselves. I knew that, of course, when I was watching the movie. Like, how are they going to defeat this guy? But how they defeated him was so lame. I expected maybe he would have to, be talked to, reasoned with. Maybe that he would stop there. I was not anticipating that he would get defeated by feelings. By feelings. That scene where he's confronting his inner demon, the Void, was actually a really cool scene. When he starts fighting his inner demons, literally, I'm like, all right, this is pretty sick. I was not anticipating them to say, "Stop it, Bobby! Stop it! This is what he wants. He wants you to kill him." And then they start holding him like a little bitch, and he's crying in their arms. God, what was that scene, dude? The action scene was going so well up until then. It really was. If he had outright just killed the Void, or maybe temporarily shut off the Void, or, better yet, merge with the Void, since we know that he needs to basically be with the Void in order to also be Sentry and have his powers as established in this movie. That would have been cool. You didn't need to make him cry like a little wimp, okay? I know he's a druggie. I know he's going through a lot. I know his dad used to whip him or whatever. And I know this is a story about a lot of misunderstood people, okay? You don't have to make them little wusses, all right? There's ways you can execute that same concept. So I was really let down by that ending there. And of course, the worst element in this movie is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, dude. She is absolutely terrible in this movie. I'm sorry, she cannot really play a serious role. I haven't seen her in anything else outside of Elaine, okay? When she's made that appearance in The Falcon and Winter Soldier, I thought she was pretty lame in there as well. But this is taken up to a whole other level, all right? She cannot help but play Elaine in everything she does. There's nothing even remotely villainous, scary, intimidating about her character in this movie at all. She doesn't even feel like a villain whatsoever. She has no gravitas. I never felt intimidated by her once, okay? It literally just felt like I'm watching Elaine from Seinfeld be in the MCU. It was the same song and dance routine we've seen from that actress again and again. So she is the weakest element. She could have been played by literally any other actor, and they would have done 10 times a better job, right? Bring in like Olivia Colman, my God. Bring in like a true like dramatic actress for this kind of role. Had you brought in Olivia Colman or something, I would actually believe, like that she could actually, really take charge and be some kind of scary hero here. And also the other major thing is that this was Yelena Belova's movie, right? And I'll say this right now. I actually really liked Yelena Belova in this movie. And the Thunderbolts, the characterizations of them in this film, they made me care. They made me genuinely care about those characters. I did not give basically a crap about anyone from the Black Widow movie, especially not the Taskmaster, rest in peace, by the way. She got deleted in like the most hilarious fashion. Oh my God. And they humiliated her afterwards. Like, that was the funniest shit ever, dude. But it almost felt like Disney hates the character more than we, the audience, hated the character. But anyway, besides her, they did a really good job actually building on the personalities of how will these characters interact with each other in the Thunderbolts. I really enjoyed that dynamic of it. But I didn't quite like, I think, that this was strictly Yelena's film. I liked what they did for her character in her development here. I like that. I just would have preferred if they had balanced it out a bit more with the rest of the team, right? Because you get a nice little interplay with all the different characters, especially Red Guardian, all right? I actually think Red Guardian is now one of my fan favorite characters in the new MCU that they've created. I got to say that. I will die on that hill that I could not stand any scenes I saw him in Black Widow, but I actually quite liked him here, surprisingly. And the whole, story between the Red Room and him being the father to Yelena and how he has to feel like he has to step up and be like, this better dad. That's all cool. And I really like those family elements here. They didn't really feel forced. That's the best thing about it. The family elements between Yelena, Red Guardian, and the rest of the Thunderbolts team did not feel forced, like I said, outside of the Sentry and the Void, them holding him like a wimp. If they cut that scene out entirely, I am sure the ending would have been much better. Okay, even if they didn't have to defeat the Void, if they just reasoned with the Void, that would have felt less anticlimactic than what they did in terms of their execution with the movie here. So this is kind of an interesting film because to me, like I said, it feels like a Star Wars prequel. There's elements I like, mixed with a lot of bad stuff in it. So I don't know how to feel about this. Maybe my feelings on this will change tomorrow and I'll hate this movie. Maybe I'll love it even more tomorrow. I honestly don't know. I've had a few hours to sit on it and think about it. But the more I think about it, nothing's really changed much. I think I enjoyed what I saw. It's more like a 7 out of 10 movie. It's not great. There's elements that are definitely commendable. They actually tried to tell a story here. That's the one thing. The one thing I will give it is that they truly tried to tell a unique story. And it really felt like they were trying their best to actually make something compelling for the audience. It didn't just feel like they were going through the motions here, like I was expecting when I went into this movie. So that's always a plus. But let me know. Are you guys going to watch this movie? Did any of you decide, it's not for you? Let me know if you guys' thoughts. Obviously, this is going to have a huge tie-in to Fantastic Four. If you guys saw the post-credit scene, it has a massive, massive tie-in. Man, people in my theater, they have not learned, obviously, that there is not one but two post-credit scenes. Why were people leaving after the first post-credit scene? I got no idea. They should know by now Marvel always has two post-credit scenes because that second post-credit scene was pretty important. It sets up the Fantastic Four, and as we can see, they have conflict with Sam Wilson. But let's talk about that new Avengers stuff, shall we? Surprise, surprise, the team is not really the Thunderbolts. They're the new Avengers. And I don't know really how to feel about that. I thought it was cool when they did it, but now it sounds more lame because, this is not the Avengers lineup. If they'd called them, the Rogue Avengers or the Dark Avengers or the Avengers B team, that could have been cool. I would have bought that more. But I did like the fact that they set up this conflict they have now with Sam Wilson's Falcon in terms of who actually holds the trademark of the Avengers title. That was kind of interesting. I want to see where they go with that in the Avengers Doomsday film. But the biggest thing I can give to this film, the biggest compliment, is that because I now care about these characters from this movie, I am actually excited to see them interact with the other characters like the X-Men in Avengers Doomsday going forward. That they actually made me care about these people who I otherwise could not give a crap about is something to commend. So that's the best part of this movie. But anyway, guys, that was the video. Let me know your guys' thoughts once again. If you like this video, why don't you guys consider leaving a like and subscribing? I always appreciate your support. And thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.